Today we're in section 4.7, fractions and decimals. So I'm converting back and forth between fractions and decimals. I need everybody to have your calculator out on your desk. Does anybody not have a calculator? In example 1, I'm converting between a fraction and a decimal. So I have the fraction 7 over 20. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just teach you how to do it using your calculators. You'll be allowed to use them on your test as well. Go ahead and change 7/20ths to a decimal. You can divide 7 divided by 20 in your calculators. Top number divided by bottom number and press equals. What do you get? What do you get? 7 divided by 20. In your calculators, 0.35 or 3/500ths. Raise your hand if you got that in your calculator. Did you get that? Andrew, did you get it? All right, top number divided by the bottom number. Now, what if you had a mixed number? Well, this number out front, the 3, okay? Do you think that that would go before the decimal or after the decimal? It goes before in the ones place because it is a whole number. So if there's, say, an 18 out front, then 18 would go before the decimal because that is a whole number. Then you take 5/8 and now put that in your calculator. 5 divided by 8, top number divided by bottom number. And what do you get? So that is the decimal part of your answer. 625 thousandths. All right, changing a fraction to a decimal. You think you can do some? Mm-hmm. All right, so I want you to do your turn now. Numbers 1 through 4. 1 through 4. It's up here on the screen. I'll give you just a couple of minutes to go ahead and do these conversions. Okay, so 3/10 is what as a decimal? 0.3 or 3/10. Okay. 3/10. What about 17 over 200? Very good. What about 3 4/5? What about 2 7/8? Very good. Who got all 4? All right. Good job. Okay, next example. It's just more fractions to decimals, except these don't terminate, but I still solve them the same way. Let's do 5/3 first. All right, go ahead and change 5/3 to a decimal. 5/3 to a decimal. What do you get? All right, and just make sure you write the repeating sign over the numbers that repeat. All right, what about 13 over 33? What would it be? 39 repeating. And both numbers are repeating, so I put the bar over both numbers. All right, any questions? Just changing the fractions to decimals. That's all we're doing here. All right, in example 3, now we're going the other way from a decimal to a fraction. So the first step is to figure out what number is going to go in my denominator. What number will go in my denominator? So the way I figure that out is I look at the last digit in the decimal. What place is the last digit in? It's in the what place though? Not tenths, hundredths place. So since it's in the hundredths place, 100 goes in my denominator. Then the number itself, 85 hundredths, goes in the numerator. All right, now go ahead and get out your calculators again. And underneath the ABS button on the far left, you should see a fraction button that has 2 shaded in squares with a line in between. Go ahead and hit that button and then enter this fraction. 85 hit the down arrow on the circle button, and then 100. 85 over 100. Go ahead and enter that fraction and press the equal sign. It reduces it for you. Do you see that? It's pretty nice, huh? All right, so reduced, what is this fraction? 17 over 20. Okay, now if you do not have that feature, you just have to reduce the fraction like normal. Okay, so you have to divide top and bottom by 5, and then you would get the answer. Deja.
On my calculator, when I press it in the box, it doesn't show up, and it says like a
Okay, I'll look at it in just a sec. All right, now I want you to do this decimal. Write it as a mixed number. Okay, so the 4 goes out front as my whole number in my mixed number, and then 0.375 I need to put over what? What is my denominator? Do you agree? 1,000? Yes, it is 1,000 because 5 is in the thousandths place. 1,000 and 375 goes in my numerator. Now here's where that feature is really nice. If you put in your fraction 375 over 1,000 and hit the equal sign, what does it reduce to? 3/8. All right, if you don't have that feature, then you have to manually reduce it. All right, and it could take some time, but it's not a big deal. You just keep reducing it until you get to the final answer. All right, any questions? Anything? Any questions? All right, moving on to example 4 now. All right, let's say I have these fractions 1/6, 17 over 400, 1 over 25, and 9 over 125. Yesterday we learned that we can change these, we can compare these fractions using least common denominator, or LCD. Well, let's look at these denominators for a second. Do you think your LCD is going to be easy to find? No, that's really going to be a bummer to have to find the LCD of those numbers. So there's another way we can do it. We can change all of these fractions to decimals. Then we're essentially comparing the same format. So I want you to change each one of these fractions to decimals. Right underneath, keep them in the same order, but go ahead and change each fraction to a decimal. All right, so 1/6 is going to be what? 0.16 repeating. 17 over 400? 0.0425. 1 over 25? And 9 over 125. Okay, so now I have all of these in decimal form. They all have zeros out front. Do you agree? Do you agree? Okay, so now I'm going to go to my second digit. I have a 1, a 0, a 0, and a 0. So I know for sure this one's the biggest right off the bat. Okay, but I'm still looking for the smallest. So now I go to my second digit. I have a 4, and a 7. So now it's between these two. But now I have to go to the third digit. I have a 2, and what comes behind the 4? A 0, so which one's the smallest? 0.04, and I write it in the original format in my answer, 1 over 25. I want you to put the rest of the numbers in order from least to greatest. Put the rest of the numbers in order, least to greatest. All right, in the original format though, what's it going to be? 17, no, I'm sorry, it's going to be, wait, that's wrong. Hold on. All right, so then I have 17 over 400. Then I have 9 over 125. Then last but not least, 1/6. And I box in those fractions as my answer. Okay, on your quiz and your test, you're going to have to order fractions. It'll be your choice whether you find LCD or you change them to decimals and then compare. I don't care which one you use. In my opinion, decimals work out maybe a little better. But like I said, I'll leave that up to you. All right, we've got about 3 minutes left in class. I want to just try to do some of these problems. All right, we might not get to all of them, but I want you to try to convert. We're on page 192 in your books. All right, numbers 5 through 8, we're writing the fraction as a decimal. Numbers 9 through 12, we're writing the decimal as a fraction. All right, let's try to do some of these.